in different ways, culturally and historically and geographically limited. In the case of Palestine, that's not so. If there is one people in the modern world that lives daily and actually and immediately under the Pax Americana, where every condition of its daily life is mandated by the Pax Americana and has been at least since 1967, it is the Palestinian Arabs. In other words, the Palestinian Revolution, sometimes called the Intifada, but actually predating the Intifada, the repudiation of this Pax Americana is a really serious challenge to the American self-image in this new world order. Here is a people, after all, recognized by all knowledgeable scholars of the region, whatever their political shade might be, as the most advanced, the most developed, the most internationally minded, the most educated, the most sophisticated. I say this at, I hope, no cost to any other Arab population, many of whom have made the same observation, of them all. And this population has announced that it would rather die than go on living under the Pax Americana. Not only has it announced this, irrespective of age, irrespective of sex, irrespective of occupation, irrespective of whether the Palestinian in question is a Muslim or a Christian.
Out of what we're in at this point, and I would like to ask, how do you address this, or should we address this in some way?
I can't speak for either Professors Chomsky or Said, but I don't think that they very greatly miss the only thing that you can definitely say has disappeared in what we're led to think of as an ideological meltdown that's currently in progress. The only thing that has gone and won't come back, or probably won't come back, though you can never be sure with illusions when they'll return or not, is what used to be called teleology, the idea that there is a knowable future that you can simply struggle for, and that it's predictable, that there's a determinist future, that there is movement from one stage to another, always ever onward and upward and higher, and thus that you have a vision of that future that's in some way independent of ideas. And I think that there's no question that that's over. People on the left who thought, well, these are tough times, but all the signs are there'll be another upsurge soon, who consoled themselves in this way, who felt that history actually fought on their side, was an active ingredient in its own making, determined by human agency or by a party. That's gone. But I don't myself feel the loss of it, any more than I feel the loss of what used to be called, by people who had a teleological view, the socialist sixth of the world. It was always a hard thing to say, the socialist sixth of the world, but that was those who said, that's as far as we've got so far, but a sixth isn't bad if you only start from 1917. The idea was the other 5/6 were, as it were, going to join up. Now, nobody thinks that anymore, and it's my opinion that those who ran the sixth never thought it anyway. And I believe myself the ideological consequences of, say, the self-disbanding of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, the ideological consequences of this are exactly nil. None. Zero. It taught us nothing ideologically we did not already know about that system. It pronounced no obituary that hadn't been written, I won't say by history, but that hadn't been, because I don't believe history is an agent, but that hadn't been historically discovered. And certainly no obituary that hadn't been written by Marxists, starting from at least Rosa Luxemburg, roughly coterminous and contemporary with 1917. In other words, that all you learned was what you knew already, that there was everything still to play for, and that Hegel was right. There is such a thing as the cunning of history, as well as the irony of it. So what this doesn't do is provide a mobilizing principle for people, but it also doesn't provide any demobilizing or illusory ones. So I feel it'll probably last my time and see me out.
You have elegantly disposed of the Fukuyama construct, which is a job that needs to be done and is, I think, fairly easily done, but well done in this case. Have you not gone to the other extreme, though? That is, if Fukuyama claims that the New World Order is constructed in America's image, as though America were the Lord Creator, you've gone to the opposite extreme and argued that this same old world disorder, which we in fact are living in, is largely the responsibility or the doing of the United States or the Western world, or that it is chiefly in the responsibility of or in the ability of the Western world to fix this disorder and create a true order. Does that not go to the opposite extreme? I mean, and underestimate the degree to which the non-European parts of the world, the non-European or non-Western societies, have choices open to them and bear a certain responsibility for making choices independently of the Western world, which will better their own future. You seem to reduce, to describe the plight of the Kurds as the responsibility or the doing more of the United States than of the Ba'ath regime. The Jewish state, Israel, you implicitly reduced the status of this sort of outpost of Yankee imperialism. Doesn't that go to the opposite extreme of seeing all conflict and disorder in the world as being the function of Western imperialism? And is that not an overly convenient escape from responsibility on the part of these troubled societies?
I have to say perhaps a few more words in Fukuyama's defense to answer your question. When he replies to his critics, he says, look, obviously, I didn't mean to say that no great events would continue to occur, but when I said that history would end, I meant to say that there would be no great events over which people felt ideologically divided. So it's no good saying, but just after your book, there was a war and the Berlin Wall fell and this kind of thing. I have to say that in his defense. I have to say also that he said that whether or not these ideas became actually regnant, nobody wanted to do more than get to political pluralism and liberal capitalism, and no one who got that far wanted to dump it. In other words, that was a final ruling. Okay. So that's not to be, I hope I was only unfair, I hope, to that presentation. The problem is that he certainly does believe the United States to be the representative country in this respect. Right? Now, this is a mistake that other countries have made in the past, of thinking of themselves as the special register or vector of ideas. The mission civilisatrice with the French, the Macaulayite imperial liberalism of the English, and so on, all feeling they were the pattern for Westminster democracy and free trade in the English case and so forth, all shown to be illusory. Now, all I meant to say in the point you've taken me up on was this. It was striking to me how in the areas where the United States had, as it were, the most power, where it was the most nearly wholly responsible, that it was doing least well in that case. I mentioned Haiti, which is in a sense part of the American economy. I mentioned Palestine, which I didn't mean to say that Israel is a wholly owned subsidiary, but certainly the Palestinians can be said to live under conditions mandated by Pax Americana to an extent that isn't true of any other Arab population. And you're right that I think I may have